Nicolas Cruz was born on September 24, 1998, and was adopted by Linda and Roger Cruz shortly after his birth. He grew up in Parkland, Florida, alongside his younger brother, Zachary, in what appeared to be a stable home. However, his early years were marked by behavioral issues and difficulties in school. His adoptive father died when Cruz was a young boy, and his adoptive mother, Linda, struggled to manage his escalating behavioral problems. Cruz was diagnosed with emotional and developmental disorders, including attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and autism, and he frequently exhibited violent and disruptive behavior. As Cruz grew older, his problems worsened. He was often bullied at school, got into fights, and displayed increasingly erratic and violent tendencies. By the time he reached high school, Cruz had been expelled from Marjory Stoneman Douglas for disciplinary reasons and was attending an alternative school. His adoptive mother passed away in 2017, leaving Cruz deeply troubled and emotionally unstable. After her death, Cruz moved in with a friend's family, but his troubling behavior continued to escalate. Before the Parkland shooting, Cruz maintained a troubling presence on social media, including YouTube and Instagram. In these online platforms, he frequently expressed violent thoughts and posted disturbing content that hinted at his intentions. His posts and comments on YouTube videos often referenced guns, violence, and his desire to harm others. One of Cruz's most chilling statements was made in a comment on a YouTube video, where he wrote, "I'm going to be a professional school shooter." This comment, made months before the attack, was reported to the FBI, but no further action was taken, a fact that later drew heavy criticism. Cruz also posted videos of himself on YouTube, in which he showcased his obsession with firearms, self-harm, and violent fantasies. In one video, Cruz appeared dressed in tactical gear, showing off a collection of guns and knives, while in another, he discussed his desire to kill people, expressing hatred for society and his belief that no one cared about him. In hindsight, Cruz's YouTube videos and social media activity painted a clear picture of an individual descending into a dangerous mental state, fueled by loneliness, rage, and a desire for infamy. On February 14, 2018, Nicolas Cruz entered Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, armed with a legally purchased AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. He arrived at the school just before dismissal time and entered the freshman building, where he began shooting students and staff indiscriminately. Cruz methodically moved through the building, firing into classrooms, hallways, and stairwells. He left 17 people dead, including 14 students and 3 staff members, and injured 17 more. The attack lasted just 6 minutes, but it left an indelible scar on the community and the nation. After committing the massacre, Cruz discarded his weapon and fled the scene, blending in with the students evacuating the school. He was later apprehended by law enforcement in a nearby neighborhood. The Parkland shooting quickly became one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history, and the aftermath of the attack led to an outpouring of grief, anger, and calls for action on gun control and mental health reform. In the days following the shooting, details of Nicolas Cruz's troubled past and his disturbing online activity emerged, prompting widespread outrage and frustration. Many questioned how Cruz had been able to legally obtain a firearm despite his history of violence, mental health issues, and numerous red flags. The fact that his YouTube comment about becoming a professional school shooter had been reported to the FBI months before the attack, but no follow-up action was taken, sparked significant criticism of the federal agency's handling of the case. Investigators also uncovered that Cruz had been involved in numerous altercations and incidents of disturbing behavior prior to the shooting. He had been reported to school officials and law enforcement on multiple occasions for violent outbursts, making threats, and expressing an interest in shooting people. Despite these warning signs, Cruz had not been adequately monitored or placed in a mental health facility. Nicolas Cruz was arrested without incident shortly after the shooting and was charged with 17 counts of first-degree murder and 17 counts of attempted murder. In a rare move, Cruz's defense team immediately expressed his willingness to plead guilty in exchange for a life sentence, hoping to avoid the death penalty. However, the prosecution sought the death penalty due to the severity of the crime. As the legal proceedings moved forward, Cruz's defense highlighted his long history of mental health issues, childhood trauma, and lack of proper intervention as mitigating factors. His defense team argued that his emotional instability and developmental disorders made him incapable of fully understanding the consequences of his actions. The trial was delayed multiple times due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and as of 2021, Cruz awaited sentencing. The Parkland shooting not only reignited the national debate over gun control but also led to significant student-led activism. Survivors of the massacre, including Emma Gonzalez, David Hogg, and others, became prominent figures in the gun control movement, launching the March for Our Lives campaign and demanding stronger gun control laws. The shooting also led to changes in school safety protocols, as well as the passage of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act in Florida. This legislation included provisions for a red flag law, allowing law enforcement to confiscate firearms from individuals deemed a threat, raised the minimum age for purchasing firearms from 18 to 21, and imposed a 3-day waiting period for gun purchases. In addition to the gun control debate, the shooting underscored the importance of addressing mental health issues and improving the systems in place for identifying and intervening when individuals exhibit warning signs of violent behavior. Many argued that Cruz's case represented a massive failure of the mental health system, as he had exhibited clear signs of emotional and psychological distress for years, yet had not received the help he needed. Nicolas Cruz's extensive online activity, particularly on YouTube and social media platforms, also highlighted the growing role of the internet in radicalizing and influencing troubled individuals. Cruz used these platforms to vent his frustrations, post violent fantasies, and connect with others who shared his dark interests. The fact that Cruz's YouTube comment about becoming a professional school shooter went largely unnoticed by authorities despite being reported raised questions about the role of tech companies and law enforcement in monitoring and responding to threats posted online. The case has prompted discussions about the responsibility of social media platforms to identify and report troubling content, as well as the balance between privacy and public safety. While many of Cruz's videos and posts were disturbing, they were not necessarily illegal, raising the question of how much responsibility platforms like YouTube have in preventing tragedies like the Parkland shooting.